Yes, recording in process. Once again,
Yes.
morning. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Welcome, Sean. Welcome, Florencio. Maranhão. Florencio is in Mozambique at the moment. Welcome, Auntie Clara, for joining, and thank you for joining us today. Today we have a really special guest, Miss Marta Mulenga. She will, during the program, introduce herself, but let me explain first the idea. My name is Vanessa Macamo. I'm in Tucson. I'm an international student, a Fulbright, and I got my scholarship to do my PhD in education, in special education. And being here, one of my motivations was to kind of promote these programs, to promote scholarships, work opportunities, and also learn with people who knows about these different
Sorry,
topics,
I don't understand. I'm
how to survive in US. So we have a very interesting topic today. We have a very interesting topic today. It's not easy to discuss this topic because it's like we are talking about money. We are talking about building wealth. So some of us, most of the times, are like, "Oh my God, how I will do this?" But before I continue, let me do different. I was thinking that I will introduce you, but I will talk a little bit about some of the questions that we will have today. So the idea today, and as you know, talking about money is something sensitive. So the idea today is kind of understand how can we build wealth for future generations, okay? And when we say wealth, what do we mean about that? What Miss Marta means about that? Okay. Also, if we can build wealth by investing in education, is that possible or not? Or no? Since we are on the field of education, some of us. Also, one of the questions is how can we salvaguard my earnings or assets? Excuse me if some of the words are not properly, my language is Portuguese. I would prefer to be here speaking in Portuguese, more comfortable. And also, how can one get to do what you do so they can educate their own community, you know? I mean, in this case, I'm talking about Miss Marta. How can we do what she's doing now so we can, from there, educate our community? So in general, is to see how can we build this wealth, what are the resources we have for that, and she's here to help us today. Miss Marta, I will leave you with your English so you can teach
Actually,
us and tell us some of your experience. Please welcome and thank you for accepting being part of our program. Thank you.
thank you, Vanessa. I feel really honored to have been invited for this opportunity. And don't call English my English. My name is Martha. I am originally from Zambia. And English, I learned English, yes, starting from first grade. But yes, I speak my own local languages too. Yes, talking about money is a very sensitive issue. There are a lot of schemes out there, scams. So who do we trust and who do we believe? And why should you believe me? Okay. My original background is construction management, but that fell off after the economy crashed many, many years ago, 2008. I became a nurse. So I am actually a nurse practitioner with a master's in nursing. But recently, I have come across some information which I wish I had known about when I first came to the United States of America 22 years ago. But I came across this information recently, and I'm still grateful. It's late, not too late. I'm still grateful that I have this opportunity to know about this information, and I am thrilled to be able to share it with you all, because I believe that this information, the quicker you learn it, the better your outcome, and the quicker you begin to thrive here in America. Okay, and so why should you trust me? I am a licensed financial professional. I am licensed in the state of Arizona, in Colorado, Indiana, and New Jersey. And my goal is to get licensed in all 50 states. Why should one need a license? Because this is a highly regulated industry. The financial services industry is very highly regulated, only because of all the scams that are out there. So is the state going to give me a license to go and scam people? No way, okay? And to get my license, I had to go through an education course, and I had to pass a background check, very thorough background check. So this is not for every Jim and Jack. One has to clear a background check. And in addition, I have to continue with education. I have to keep taking continuing education classes in order to stay up to date with the latest information. For that matter, that even helps me to maintain my license, because I cannot keep my license if I do not continue with my license, with my education credits, okay? So one of the questions on hand is, what do we mean by building wealth? Okay. And I understand that some of you are in Mozambique, so I'll try to relate, because I believe that whether you're in Mozambique or Zambia or any part of this world, the reason why we do what we do, whatever job you do, the reason you do that is because you want to build wealth. Okay. And building wealth, how do we build wealth? I have here, this is a cup of beans, okay? If I have one bean, it will always remain just one bean, but I could plant that and I will harvest more beans. And it's the same concept with money. I could have my dollar bills here. If I just hold on to those, they'll just stay as dollar bills, okay? But if I invest them in certain places, if I put them in certain accounts, they can grow, okay? And that's what we mean by building wealth. Wealth can be built, okay? One of the problems we have is that we go to work, we are told, go and work, go and get a job. That way you can pay your rent, you can buy your food, you can buy your nice cars, you can buy your clothes, but we are not taught what else we can do with money that maybe can ease how hard we have to work. We work very, very hard for our money, and that's all we know. Work hard, 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 and harder sometimes, okay? But at what cost, okay? Some people here in America may have 3, 4 jobs, okay? The wife is in night shift, the husband is in day shift. They just meet in the parking lot. Oh, I'm leaving. This child needs this child needs that. And we don't normally even have the opportunity to sit down as a family. How can we end that cycle? And for those that are planning to come to America, I am giving you information that helps you to stay ahead of the game. As you are coming, you already have this information. You will be better prepared than some of us who have acquired this information 20 years after being here in America, okay? And we've been taught, save, okay? Put money aside. Yes, put money. I can put this bean and just put it there. It's still just one bean. And that's what we know, save. Yes, save. Every month, save a little bit. Yes, I can save a lot, but how long can you save, for instance, to buy a house? Okay, how long must you save? And what we are saying here, what I'm trying to educate you about is how to save and how that money can grow, so that if you saved 1, maybe at some point it will be 2, even if you only put aside 1 yourself. okay? One being $1. How can I grow my dollar so that it multiplies? That's what I'm trying to educate people about, okay? Now, like I've said, saving alone is not enough. You need to put your money in accounts that can grow your money, okay? Now, that being said, I wanted to share with you a slide, some slides that will show you about how money grows, okay? So just bear with me,
Yes.
okay?
Yes, while you're sharing, I don't know if our guests have some questions. Sean, Miss
Yep,
Clara,
yes,
Florencio, are
any
you good
questions are
so
welcome.
far? You have some questions related with wealth or what she shared so far?
Yes, I am. I
Mhm.
am. I'm very grateful to be part of this really important information. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you have any questions so far, Sean? Oh, sorry. Are you still saying, sorry, please go ahead.
So it's only me.
No, you good.
Okay. I was gonna ask Clara where she's tuning in from today. Okay.
I'm sorry,
okay.
can you repeat the question?
Clara, where are you joining us from today?
I'm joining you guys from Washington, D.C.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. Right
Thank
here in the
you.
United States of America, good.
But I
And-
belong to Arizona. I lived in Arizona and for 20 years. I
good
had to
for you.
move. I had to move from Arizona to Washington, D.C. in 2001
Mhm,
due to work, my husband.
mhm.
And now I'm getting ready to move back to Arizona because it's where most of my children's are.
I see. Okay.
And where you are, may I know?
Right now I'm in Colorado, Denver, Colorado.
Oh, okay, great. Fantastic.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Thanks so much.
Yeah, so like I said, I am a licensed financial professional and I am an independent contractor and I work with several companies. These companies here are companies that have stood the test of time. These are companies that have been around for more than 100 years. They have weathered the world wars. Just think of any financial calamity the world has seen. These companies have stood the test of time. For those who are not who be listening in and not able to see, I represent Pacific Life, Prudential, Fidelity, Transamerica, and the common one, which is aired on TV very often, Nationwide is on your side. These are the companies I represent. Now, we are talking about money and growing money, okay? Now, how does money grow? If I may ask, Vanessa, in your bank account, how much interest have you seen in your bank account of late?
I will not be able to say numbers, but perhaps they're there. I'm not good with the. Maybe you ask other person. I'm not good with.
Okay, anybody
with
that can
people.
share how much interest they've seen in their bank account recently?
I don't
Quite
see any
frank.
interest in my own bank account.
You don't see any interest in your bank account, Sean, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and that's the truth. So money can be just fixed, like a flat line, no growth. Like I was giving the example of this bean, it will remain one bean for the longest time ever, as long as I put it in a bank account, in certain account.
Oh, you got the photo.
Like in the checking account, your money hardly grows. Maybe I've seen 51 cents at the most, and I look at it and say, oh my goodness, I put in so much money and I see 51 cents as interest. That's no growth. Then there's the variable growth that is up and down, up and down. From my healthcare background, if a patient's EKG is up and down like that, we worry, oh my goodness, this person's heart might just stop. Let's do something quickly to save them. So variable growth, this is places like the stock market. And I know people have played around with the stock market, where in the morning you're driving to work, oh, the stocks are doing so well, look how much I've gained. And then in the evening you come home, the stocks crashed or closed at a very low amount, and then you've lost everything you gained. And even if that doesn't happen daily, you might have a whole good year, 2 years, and then just one day everything crashes, you lose even the principal that you put in. That's variable growth. Okay, then there's this phenomena that we are not taught, okay, but that I discovered recently. It's called indexed. So your money is in an account that is related to the stock market, but only to the indices, so that it does not fluctuate up and down like this variable one here. If the stocks gain here in the index, it will gain, your money will grow, and it will kind of get locked, or let me say, cast in concrete at that level, so that if the stocks crash, your money will not go down and you will not lose it. And that's why you see these padlocks. So as the stock market changes, the indices gain with, if there's a gain, your money gains, but if there's a decline, your money will not lose, okay? And this is the concept I want our people to learn about. This is what really excited me about finances, that, oh, so there's a way you can grow money and never lose money. I was very excited about that, okay? Then now I want to talk about how the best way to learn any new concept is to look at maybe an example of somebody who has done that before, okay? So how do the wealthy build their wealth in America, okay? Where do they put their money where it can grow steadily without any losses, okay? And so the question one would ask, are there factors that they take into consideration when deciding, for instance, which account to put their money in? Yes. I'm going to quote Warren Buffett. He's one of the wealthiest Americans, okay? According to Warren Buffett, he follows 10 principles about where to put his money, okay? So principle number one, where you put your money, you should never lose money. It should gain and never lose, okay? That's principle number one. Principle number two.
Sorry, Martha, we are still, sorry, Martha. I don't know if you are moving to the next slide or?
No, not yet, not yet. I'm just going to speak through these, and then as we go along, I'll be referring to them. Yes. So the next principle is never forget rule number one. What's rule number one again, Sean?
I didn't catch that.
Rule number one is make money, but never lose money. So wherever you put your money, it should grow and you should never lose money. And number two is remember rule number one. So rule number one, the idea of growing money and never losing it is very, very important. Okay. Then rule number three, where you put your money, do you need to pay a manager to grow your money? In your bank account, do you pay somebody to watch over your money? No. Your bank account.
Please, what's rule number two?
Don't forget rule number one. So you ask again, what is rule number one?
Yeah, that one is make money but never lose it. Thank you.
So don't forget that. That's rule number two. So rule number one is very important, because if you play in the stock market, you put money, you gain, you lose, you gain, you lose. You want your money where you will gain and gain and gain and gain and never lose. So number one, number two, are related.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 3, where you put your money, do you need to pay somebody to manage your money or to watch over the growth of your money? In most cases, the accounts where we keep our money, we don't need a manager. Okay. In the bank account, in your checking account, do you need a manager? No. Okay. You don't need a
No.
manager. And then there are other accounts that I'm going to talk about later that you don't need a manager also. But say in the stock market, do you know that there's a manager who is whom you pay a small fee for managing your stocks? Did you know that? And then here in America, we also we use the 401k as a savings account or as a saving system for retirement. Do you know that you pay a manager to manage your 401k? Okay.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are the things I'm talking about. Accounts
Okay.
where you don't need a manager. There are certain accounts like that. And then wherever you put your money, we talked about this here, the fixed type. If you put your money there, is it going to keep up with inflation? Inflation is the growth of the increase in the cost of goods. The apartment I lived in when I first came to the United States of America, I think we paid about $400 in rent. It was a 2-bedroom apartment. My husband and I and our 2 children lived there. I inquired that same apartment now is $1,500. So if my money is not growing, okay, 20 years later, my money is the same money that I put in an account, would I be able to afford that apartment today? No.
No.
So where you put your money, can it keep up with inflation? Will it grow at a rate that will keep up with inflation? If we go to your savings account or your checking account, is your money in your checking account growing? No, we already established that it's like a fixed line, 51 cents interest, you know? Will that be able to keep up with inflation? No, it will not, okay? And then, are there accounts that can avoid double taxation, okay? If I put my money in my checking account, if I get my paycheck, and it lands in my in my checking account, that money has been taxed already by my employer.
Yes.
Right? So if I take that money and save it somewhere and it grows interest, am I going to pay tax on that interest? Is the question you should ask as you are deciding which bucket to put your money in. Okay? Am I going to pay interest taxes on the interest? In other words, am I going to pay taxes 2 times? Double taxation. We want to avoid double taxation. I'm sure you hear in the media how certain politicians don't pay taxes. Are they really doing something wrong? We should, if we knew about certain accounts, we might find that then certain accounts actually enable you not to pay taxes. Okay? And those are the accounts. If you want to learn more about that, then you need to contact me directly so that I can tell you more about that. Okay. Right now, I'm just enlightening you to the fact that these things exist. Yes, there are accounts out there where you can avoid taxation legally. Okay. You can contact me. My contact will be at the end of this presentation. You can contact me, or maybe Vanessa can put my contact in the chat. People can contact me to find out more about these accounts, which you can avoid paying taxes on. And then the other thing is, when you put your money, wherever you put your money, how easily can you access that money? Okay. I think we've all heard about CDs, certificate deposits, okay, accounts. If I put money in a CD for 90 days and I withdraw, something happens after a month, but my CD is for 90 days. If I go and withdraw any part of that money before that 90 days, I will have to pay a penalty, okay? And are there accounts that can avoid such penalties. In your checking account, you can take out money anytime, right? And you won't pay any penalty. But are there accounts where my money can grow and yet I can still access anytime? Those are the kind of accounts I'm trying to talk about here, okay? And then most importantly, there is the concept of compound interest. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. If you understand it, you will earn it. But most of us don't understand it, and so we end up paying it. We pay it through credit cards, we pay it through car loans, we pay it through our mortgages, we pay it through all these loans that we acquire, our college loans, you know, education loans. Just to illustrate how compound works, compound interest works, I'm going to pretend that I give Vanessa and Sean $100,000 each, okay? And you both put it away in a simple, no, maybe Vanessa puts it in simple interest at 10%, and then Sean puts it in compound interest, which is also growing at 10%. Let's see how that money will grow, okay? So, and you're putting it away for up to about 40 years, okay? So year one, at 10%, you've both invested 100,000, okay? Year one, at 10%, you both earn 10,000 interest, $10,000 interest. And this, try to visualize this money in your own currency, whether you're in Zambia or Mozambique. Try to visualize the growth, the numbers, forget the dollar sign, put your own currency there, okay? So let's see what happens after 5 years, okay? Both are earning interest at 10%, but I think we begin to see the big difference after year 5. So the person who put it in simple interest after year 5 has earned 150, now has 150, they've earned $50,000. But the one who has put it in compound is now at 161. How did that happen? Why is there such a difference? With simple interest, you earn interest only on the principal amount you started with. If you started with $100,000 at 10%, you will earn $10,000 every year. So it's 10,000 every year. So that every year getting 10, so that by year 5, you've earned 10 times 5, 10, and that's how that person has 150,000. But with compound interest, it's interest on interest. So if you started with 100 and now you have 110, the next year you will start at 110, okay? Let's continue and see the ultimate impact, okay? After 10 years, the person with simple interest has grown to 200,000, but the one with compound interest has grown to 259. Let's see what happens after 30 years. Wow. After 30 years, you started with 100,000, remember? In simple interest, you have now grown your money, your bean seed has grown. It's no longer what you started with, it has multiplied. You now have 400,000. But look at what has happened to the person who put their money in compound interest. It's a whopping 1.7. But let's see, because most people who work for about 30, 40 years, you are really thinking about retiring. Let's see how much money you would now retire with, having started with $100,000, okay? You started with 100,000, one person put it in simple interest 10%, the other put it in compound interest 10%. Oh, you have $500,000 at simple interest, okay? But can anybody guess how much would be in the compound interest column? I want some guesses. Clara, how much do you think is in the compound interest? Just throw a number out there. Oh, Sean, anybody?
4 million.
Say that again.
4 million.
You are pretty close.
I think
You're pretty close.
I think he said 4 million.
4 million. You're pretty close. It will be a whopping $4.5 million. Remember, they both started with 100,000. okay? But look at the difference in the growth. And we are saying it's because of the type of account they selected. They selected, this person with 4.5 selected an account that grows at compound interest. Now, when you first come to America, you're told, open a checking account, okay? Let's see what happens with, first of all, no checking account will give you 10% interest, right? Because if you get 0.1% interest, you are even lucky. So let's go with interest at 0.1%. Let's see what growth would occur for the same amount of 100,000, but in a checking account, okay? So in a checking account, you get your 100,000. At the end of the year, you get $100 as interest, okay? And as we are saying this, keep comparing with simple and with compound. By year 5, how much have you gained? $500, okay? By year 30, how much have you gained? $3,000 over your $100,000. Compare with simple and compound interest. And now you're ready to retire, because this is what I was saying. When you take a bean and just save, just save it, just put in your checking account, you're saving. You see the growth? After 40 years, your 100,000 has grown to 104,000. Which account would you prefer? Anybody, tell me which account you would prefer.
Compound, of course.
Compound,
In my
exactly. Now, the question I have for you is, do you know where to go for such an account?
No idea.
And that's why you need to contact somebody like me that can show you safely, because there are a lot of scams out there, but we can show you accounts that can begin to grow at compound interest, so that as the cost of goods is going up, your money is able to keep up with the cost of goods, okay? That's compound interest, yes. Now,
brokers, elders say, while I say welcome to Elder, Martha, can you check your phone? I test you, please.
Okay.
Welcome, Elder, thank you. So we can go to brokers, money market, but is this legal, Elder?
Which one?
No, I wanted to hear from Elder, but did you saw your phone, Martha?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So Elder was saying that we can go, because you were asking where can we go to have this kind of information. So he said brokers, money market, money investment. So I was asking him if brokers or money market, if they are legal, if they go to a
brokers,
I don't know. So I'm just asking. And I was asking to Elder, probably he has something to share with us, Elder.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us.
Elder.
Okay, I think he can't talk where he is, but he says there the place like what she's saying. Okay, Martha, over to you.
Yes, brokers, we are licensed financial professionals, and we deal, the companies I showed you earlier are the companies that can give you these types of accounts, but usually these accounts, these types of these companies will not deal with you directly. They'll want you to go through an agent like myself. Okay. Now, money market accounts, yes, there are some money market accounts out there. I've had a money market account, and it's related to the stock market, right? So it grows up and down like a bad EKG. And we are saying we want money to grow and never lose. It grows like a stairway to heaven. My money grows, it stays there. Grows, stays there. Grows, stays there. Perpetual, not grow down. So the money market accounts might be related to the stock market. Okay, Helder. Now, I wanted to ask you, or
Yes.
any one of you, which one of you has a school loan? If you have a school loan, it grows by compound interest. Does anybody here own a home? Like they bought a house through a mortgage? When you bought your house, I'm sure when I first bought my first house, it was $250,000. It was in Berlin, New Jersey. But at closing, we were given what they call an amortization schedule. It's a schedule that tells you, and my husband and I were so happy, oh, we can pay slowly, we can pay over 30 years. But you know what? Over 30 years, that $250 house, we were going to pay more than $700,000 for it.
Wow.
Is that witchcraft? No. That's the power of compound interest. Okay? And so we are saying, let's educate ourselves so that we ourselves now can begin to find places where you can earn compound interest. Okay? Has anybody's banker here told them about these accounts that grow compound interest? Or has anybody's CPA here told them accounts where they can grow this compound interest? Has anybody here been told by their financial advisor places where they can earn this compound interest? And places where they can grow compound interest, perpetually growing like a stairway to heaven, never losing. Okay? Those are some of the challenges.
From what I saw in the chat, no. From my experience, also no.
And that's why, you see, this information, especially in certain communities, the information only gets out when one of us, a guy from Cameroon, got this information. And when he looked at it, he was like, my goodness, all my people need to know this. And he went out on a rampage telling all, reaching out to as many. Yes, we reached out to as many people without selection of where they come from. But what was flabbergasting is that certain minorities are notoriously underprivileged and kind of kept in certain buckets of information or information drought, information deserts. And we are trying now to water that desert and inform ourselves, hey people, where we come from America. I mean, when we come to America, we all come for the American dream. How can we realize this dream? Working overtime, triple jobs, never meeting with your family. As you are working, who's taking care of your children? Okay, as you are working all those jobs you work, all those night shifts you do, who is taking care of your children? When you come from night shifts, you're sleeping just to wake up and go to your 3 o'clock job and wake up to continue to another job overnight. That's the American life. Okay, how do we cut that rat race? Okay, and move on to prosperity. And that's what we're trying to educate ourselves about. Now,
Thank you.
a question that has been asked quite often is, can we build wealth by investing in education? Like investing in my education. I've told you my background is nursing. When I started as a nurse, I started out of desperation, but I grew to love it so much. And especially when I became a nurse practitioner, I was like, oh, now I'm comfortable. I can actually take a breath. I'm earning decent money. I can afford, okay, now I was out on the lookout for what can I do with this money that I'm earning? Because now I don't have to do 3, 4 jobs. My one nurse practitioner job is sufficient. What can I do with this money, right? But what did it take for me to get my master's? I pulled a lot of loans. And as we've seen on compound interest here, those loans are growing by compound interest, okay? Yes, in the past, the policies of the past few years have suspended that growth of my loan. Okay, that's good, but that ended. So now my loan is compounding. And when we want to send our children to school, what's the plan? What is the plan for our children's education? Are we sending them out to go and get fat loans? My two children are both on a physician's training path. The one already has massive loans. The other one is raking up loans. Yes, he'll be able to pay them off eventually. But if I had known about accounts like this, I could have started a plan to put aside money for my children so that when they go to college, they can go to college loan free. So my question to you all is, what account do you have planned for your children to go to college loan free? Because starting with a loan when you graduate already puts you at a disadvantage. So what account have you set aside for your child to go to college loan free? Can I see some responses to that? What account do you have?
In my case, I think it's just a normal saving account, because it's the ones I knew it so far. And for me, it was like, okay, at least I can have a place where I will just put the money and I will not touch the money, you know. Of
Yes.
course, I asked about the interest, and it was kind of really nothing, so small, so teeny. But still, for me, it was like, okay, at least it's a place where I will not touch the money, because we have everyday challenge with life that we need the money always. So putting the money there, at least I feel that it's safe. So I'm using a saving.
Okay, thank you for
Well,
that.
myself, I have an example too. Can I share it with you guys?
You have what?
Example. What am
Okay.
I doing right now?
Yes, yes.
Well, I don't have like per se that I investment for my children, but I be investing in Fidelity is investment also.
Okay.
So what I do is, as you said, Ed Winchester is a way of investing your money. You know, it's pretty much what you are saying. You know what I mean?
Okay.
The problem is, you could go compound, but I just do interest. You know, simple interest.
Okay. So when you see simple and compound, which one is better?
Well, obvious, compound is much better, but by the time I open an account with the Fidelity investments, well, they didn't have that option.
Okay.
So yeah, so but I'm doing the investment. So anyway, it's the same, but I don't have a specific that has to be, but you know, it's just investment. So for the, you know, an emergency or whatever it is, you know, it's right there.
Yeah. Anyway, we are here to educate ourselves about how to maximize the growth on our money. Right? That's the goal. That's the purpose of this forum today, to educate ourselves on how to maximize the growth of our money. And at the same time, we have the power of choice. So one can choose to stay with what they are doing, or they can say, hey, let me look into something else. Since I heard about this, hey, can you show me how to do this? Or how can I do this? And in Vanessa's example, I still go back to the bean, okay? If you're putting aside money and it's in a saving account or in an account that grows very little interest, it's like having a bean that just stays as one bean. And I am saying, plant that bean so that you can have a whole pot of beans. That's what I'm saying about money, okay? And just to continue, so we've talked about compound interest. What about, I have a question for you all. So like I said, I'm now a nurse practitioner and I feel comfortable. I feel comfortable and confident that I can support my family But an interesting question I have for you, and it's a question we all avoid, okay? So, Martha, you're a nurse practitioner right now. Vanessa, whatever you're doing, Hilda, whatever you're doing, Sean, right now you can afford to pay your rent, you can afford to pay for your car because of your salary, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Now, what if for some reason you are told, or life just plays on you, and starting today, you can't go to work? How many days going forward would you survive? Using your savings, no salary coming through to your bank, how many days forward would you survive? Can I have some responses? How many days forward would you survive without your current source of income?
2 months.
2 months, exactly. Okay.
I've been 2 months. I've been without working the previous 2 months, and now I can survive for 2 months. I'm doing a pro bono, so I'm an internship. So I'm not working, but technically I'm not working. Well, working like earning money, but I can survive. I have been for 2 months, and then more 2 months, and then I need to look for a job after that.
Okay. Now, what if the reason you are unable to work, because you've rightly said you will find another job, right? But what if the reason you are unable to work is because of a critical illness? Would that make your situation different than it is right now, Hilda?
Yes, of course.
Hilda, are you from Mozambique?
I was adopted. I'm from Angola. I was adopted red from Mozambique.
Yeah, okay. Yes. Still. And I want to, I'm asking only because I want to establish that you're from Africa. Because not only in Africa, but here in America as well. Somebody has a stroke, a massive stroke, and they lived in this huge mansion. They drove the best cars. And then suddenly they can't go to work. That income flow is cut off. Families have had to move and change their lifestyles because of critical and chronic illness. Is that true or not?
That's true.
Yes. And
That
so
happened.
my question is, what account do you have that can rescue you when you have a critical illness, when you cannot work for a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years? What account do you have? Anyone here on this forum, share with us. What account do you have that can take care of you through a lengthy period of illness?
In my case, elder, at least he can survive even for 2 months. In my case, it's down today. I'm done. I can't even I can't even survive. Even if I don't have a critical illness, if something happened today that I don't work, I'm done. Clean hand, go back.
And there's no shame
Even if
about
you go
that.
back without working, nothing will happen. So yeah, so I think congratulations, Elder, for being ahead 2 months at least.
Yeah, you really are ahead. Most people can just survive. Most people cannot afford to do without that next paycheck, because we do live mostly paycheck to paycheck. And that's the reality about the American life. We cannot survive. Those who are able to save, the savings can only last this long, okay? But life happens, okay? And that's why we're trying to educate each other. Hey, so what account do you have? And I'm telling you, there are accounts out there that can step in, or that you can tap into to help you through a period of illness. And I'm
I
not
have a
talking
question.
about, say that, go back,
Sorry about to bother you, but is with that topic. 401k, is that considered to be an account that I could rely on?
401k. Have you tried to draw money from your 401k?
No, no, I'm saying, but it's a money that you invest in your
No. Can I say no? Can I say no?
No to that you cannot draw, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can
No,
draw.
We have-
it's a
Wait,
retirement account.
excuse me,
And
Mark.
if you retire
Yes, we
before,
have someone.
you lose. Can you hear me? Hi,
Yeah.
my name is Gloria.
Yes, we can hear you.
The problem with 401k, which is a very good retirement account for who can, it's retirement. If you try to
Yeah.
draw from it before or go get it, they'll take all your interest.
Yeah.
So it means that you might have stayed for 10 years and all of a sudden you go and you have probably $2,000 because the 401k, it enriches the longer you leave it in there. So it's a good account for retirement as far as my analysis, but it's not a good account to fall back. Now, if you have saved enough in 401k throughout the years, like some people started 20, and let's say you're 40, and you have a well-saved 401k, you can use that to, I think, to borrow against it, but you cannot go get it from your. It's I don't know what Martha knows it better, but I'm saying that because I had a 401k, went to Mozambique, worked for 16 years. When I came back, because I got a job that doesn't really use, I'm a teacher retirement is better as far as I'm concerned, government retirement for retirement. When I went to get my 401k that I had worked for 20 years, you know how much they gave me? They told me I only had $1,500.
How old were you when you went to get it? I'm sorry.
Oh, I wasn't.
Were you
It wasn't retirement age yet.
Let me rephrase that. Were you retirement age when you went to get
No,
that?
no, I wasn't. So they penalized. But when I saw 1,000, I'm like, you know what? I'm closing the account. Maybe it was a mistake, but they did something with my 401k, and I had worked good years for it. So for me,
what time
I
frame?
want to hear your opinion.
But I wanted to ask, what time period? Can you give me an estimate of when you started saving and when you went to draw?
This was from 2000, 19. This was from 19, I got here in 1982. So I started to save my 401k, I'll say 1983. I saved from 1983 to 1990. I was working as a nurse. And then I left, went to work in Mozambique for 16 years. You see? When I came back, I just wanted to know how much I had so I could make decisions in terms of jobs, where to save and all that. They're like, oh, you only have 1,000 in your 401k. I'm like, okay.
What year was
going
that?
to look for?
What
It
year?
was 2016.
Okay. So, Hilda, your 401k, like Gloria has rightly said, your 401k is meant to be a retirement account. Okay. You can tap into it for things like, some people tap into it to pay for college for themselves or for their children. There'll be no penalty. Some people tap into it to use it as a down payment for a house. There'll probably be no penalty. But to just use it and say, oh, I'm not working, my family is in dire straits, I really need this money. Guess what? Unless you are of retirement age, you will be charged a penalty for using your 401k. Okay. And then Gloria. So the 401k grows in the stock market. Remember that up and down growth, up and down growth, up and down growth. Every time the stock market crashes, your 401k crashes. Okay.
Yep.
Let's look at when you go to Walmart, what's the picture you see? Who greets you at the Walmart door? An elderly person, most likely.
Glorious. People that retirees.
Yes.
That paid
Do
for
you
1K
think they
and
are
they're
there
broke
because they are bored? No.
because
It's
you're broke.
because
You're broke.
yes, because their retirement account went awry. What they thought they would have at retirement just isn't there. Why? Because it's pitted against the stock market. So it's up, down, up, down, up, down, instead of growth, 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 growth. When you're ready to retire, maybe it just happens like for you, having started those many years back, 2008, 2009, 2010, those were bad years for the stock market. I think the stock market lost as much as negative 43%, so that people lost even their principal. Okay, and those who had accounts that are pitted in the that are invested in the stock market, your IRAs, your Roth IRAs, all these retirement accounts, and those trading in the stock market, that is it's variable, very unstable. Unfortunately, that's the retirement account the government shows us to invest into. And that's why we are here to enlighten ourselves about accounts that you can invest your money in, where the money just grows. If the economy is bad, they give you they've given you the company you've invested with has given you a minimum guaranteed interest beyond which your money will never drop. So your money always grows. If there's no growth, if there's a decline in the stock market, your money might stay level, but it won't go below. It never loses. It might stay level or have just minimal growth, but never loses. And that's why we are here today. And I think that's why Vanessa, once I invited Vanessa to one of our meetings, she says, Martha, my people need this information. That's why Vanessa thought that this information is important to open up to the Mozambican community. Because yes, if you've heard of it, well and good. But with every presentation one listens to, there's always one more piece of information to learn. So if you've heard it before, no harm in hearing it again, because you're learning something new. Okay, so
Yes.
back to my critical.
Thank you, Martha. Before we proceed, just two things. Since you even mentioned just two things, because I have a question from Sean. But before I go to that, since you mentioned the Mozambican community, Mrs. Gloria is precisely the president of our Mozambican community here in the United States. So if you want to continue the conversation, she is the right person, and she loves maths like you, because I told you I don't understand this topic. So we already have the bean. I don't know how to say, we planted the bean. Now you will continue the conversation.
Okay, good.
So
good.
I just you to be aware of that. And thank you,
Gloria,
for coming,
great.
Mr.
We should link
President.
up so we can talk and see how we can change lives
Yeah.
in the Mozambican community.
Yeah, and she's really good with that, with numbers and maths, and I'm out. Thank
good.
you. So Shan has a question here. And he will ask himself, but I just want to read the questions he has on the chat. What are these accounts, and how do we open them? Is one of the question. Is 401k a must for all workers? I'm just a student. I don't know what that is. I'm in the same position like you, Shan, and I don't know if I have it. So I think Miss Martha will answer, but you can ask yourself, please, Sean. I think you have questions that you want to raise it. Please.
So 401k is not mandatory, but it's the government recommended retirement savings account, which you open in conjunction with your employer. So your employer picks a company like Fidelity, Transamerica, the same companies I work with, but your company usually has an association or a relationship with one of these companies, and they will take, you yourself will decide how much you want to contribute towards that 401k every paycheck. Some companies will give you a match, so that if you say, they might say we'll contribute up to 4% to match what you yourself contribute. Okay, so it is not mandatory, but it's one of the government recommended programs. Okay, what you must know about the 401k, should you decide to do 401k, is with the 401k, the government will most likely, the government offers you two options. Pay me later for your taxes. So it will be tax-free, or it will be a tax deferred contribution. So you won't pay taxes on that money as you are contributing at that point, right? But the government will, at a later stage, when you want to retire, that is when they will tax it. So Gloria, that might also be part of the problem. So the government treats your money like a bean, and they ask you, Gloria, do you want to pay money on this bean, this one bean now today as you make your contributions? Or do you want to plant this seed and let it grow and then pay me on the growth you've attained in 30 years' time? Okay? The question is, will taxes in 30 years' time, will taxes be lower or higher? What do you think?
Can I talk?
Yes.
Yeah, taxes will definitely be higher.
Exactly.
But yeah, for that 401k,
Mhm.
do we get to make the choice before starting it whether to pay tax now and tax later?
Some companies offer you the option to pay tax now. So that's something you need to ask the provider.
Okay.
Can I pay tax now rather than pay tax in the future?
Thank you.
Yes. Mhm. And then what was the other question from Sean? Is it mandatory? It's not mandatory, but the government highly recommends it. But we recommend you go to compound interest accounts to grow, because those compound interest accounts can serve several purposes. You can use them for that. You can use the money in there pretty much for anything you need in this life. Okay. Now, can I continue?
Yes, please.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
So some people talk about, oh no, at my job, I have disability insurance, okay? Disability insurance. When I had surgery in 2016, I used my disability insurance, okay? Guess what? Disability insurance is short-term, and they only, at least in my case, they gave me 60% of my earnings. In those days, I was just starting as a registered nurse, and life was hard. So if life was hard, living on 100% of my paycheck, and now I'm out for 3 months, and then somebody is paying me 60% of my paycheck, will that make my life easier or more difficult? Right?
Difficult.
More difficult. If I can't survive on 100%, how do you expect me to survive on 60%? So we're not talking about, when we talk about these accounts that can help you in illness, we're not talking about disability at your job. And if it's, sometimes there's a long-term disability which can run up to 6 months. Tell me which company here in America will keep you, oh, stay home for 6 months, you're sick, and will continue paying you. After 6 months, they are replacing you. You know, and they'll even apologize. Oh, we love you so much. We really appreciate you. We are praying for you and for your recovery. But guess what? Our business must go on. And so we are sorry, but we're going to replace you. True or false? Okay. And we are not talking about simple interest, simple illnesses here. Illnesses where you break your leg. This girl here with her broken leg, she can still go on a date. She can still probably drive her car. She can still go to work on her crutches. But look at this picture here. Do you think this man is going anywhere anytime soon? No. And we're talking about things like a heart attack, stroke, cancer, end-stage renal failure, ALS, all these big illnesses, paralysis. And then when we talk about chronic illnesses, you can no longer bathe yourself, or let's just say you lose the ability to perform 2 activities of daily living. You can never dress yourself. You have to feed yourself. In other words, growing old. Although some people, yes, are unfortunate enough to become chronically ill at an early age. So what account do you have? And what do we typically do in our community, Miss Gloria? GoFundMe. Is that true or false? Right? We run to the GoFundMe.
True.
Oh,
Mhm.
so and so had such a calamity. Oh, we GoFundMe. GoFundMe trickles in $50 from here, $30 from there. They can't even make a mortgage payment. Okay, and so what we are saying here is let's enlighten ourselves so we can put an end to the GoFundMe. Yes, the GoFundMe is not entirely bad. It's a very helpful, and coming from Africa, we are people of community. When somebody has a calamity, we all rush to help. We should still rush to help, but it shouldn't be our primary source. That's what I'm trying to say, right? Oh, I'm trying to advance my PowerPoint here. It's not going. And then there's the issue of probate. My PowerPoint is not going, so I'll just talk. There's the issue of probate.
Yes, but we have a question. Sorry, Martha.
Okay,
We have
go
a
ahead.
question from Sean.
Mhm.
In the chat, he's asking if it's the 401k compound interest. 401k.
The 401k is in the stock market, and the stock market grows. It's very related to, very reactive to what's happening in the world. There's no guaranteed rate of interest, so we can't say it's compound interest. No, it's okay. If say Google stock is doing well and the price of the Google stock goes up, and you have invested in Google stock, then your money you gain through that increase in Google stock. Okay, or let's think of any other common stock, maybe Starbucks. Gains. Okay, the stock market is luck, depending on how the world is behaving. If there's war, the first thing that happens when there's war is the economy, the stock market crashes. After a while, it revives. Okay, it resuscitates itself, but it's perpetually up and down, up and down, up and down. So the 401k, no, is not in compound interest. It's directly linked to the stock market performance.
He say thank you for the answer.
Okay.
Huh?
Any more questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. So now I'm going to talk about the estate and probate court. So I don't know what happens in Mozambique or in other parts of the world when somebody dies. Here in America, as a nurse, I'm taking care of a patient, and that patient dies. There's a series of steps to be followed, right? In some states, they can call me, the nurse practitioner, to pronounce if I work in the hospital. I don't work in the hospital. For the nurse practitioner who works in the hospital, they can go and pronounce that patient dead, or they can call a physician to pronounce and confirm the patient is dead. After that, we'll let the family know. We'll let their primary care provider know. We'll call the mortuary or the funeral company that the family has picked, come and remove the remains. But we will also call a 1-800 number to let them know that so-and-so has passed away. Unfortunately, I can't show that slide because something has happened, things are not moving along. But once we call that number, it triggers a cascade of events. So if they say, oh, Martha has died, and we report my medical record number is associated with my social security number. And that social security number goes to Uncle Sam and the powers that be, and they will freeze my accounts. Certain accounts will be frozen. Okay, so that if I owe a mortgage, if I owe a car loan, if I owe student loans, if say I have child support that needed to be paid, any bills that I did not take care of while I was alive now become estate. And you can't run away from bill paying in America, okay? Because they will freeze your accounts, and they will take your money, and they will pay off your debt, okay? So if, say, your money is primarily in your checking account will be frozen. I had a slide, a PowerPoint slide that
I send you my email. I don't know if
okay,
here we
thanks,
go.
Ruby. Okay. What the accounts will be frozen. They'll take your money in those accounts to pay off all your debts. After they've paid off your debts, they will then summon your family to probate court, okay? To say, hey, Martha died. She left this amount of money. She also left this amount of debt. We took that money and paid off this, that, and the other. And this is the balance that is left, which you can now distribute amongst yourselves as family, if there's anything left. Okay? Now, what accounts will actually bypass probate court is the question. Some accounts will, some accounts will not. Two types of accounts will bypass probate court: annuities and certain types of life insurance. And I know, when we talk about life insurance amongst my people, somebody's about to die. No. Life insurance is not just about the dead or the dying. No. Life insurance, there are types of life insurance in this America, in this world, that are actually lucrative accounts. It's like you take an ugly box, and inside there put a beautiful gem, and that ugly box is life insurance. Who likes to talk about life insurance? Raise your hand. Nobody. I don't think there's anybody. I've never come across anybody that likes to talk about life insurance. Yes. So they take life insurance, this ugly topic, and then inside it hide a gem of an account that grows compound interest, an account that you can go into, take money out without penalty, take money in, put money in as and when you want within stipulated IRS limitations, okay? But no rules about, can I take my money out when I need it for college, or when I'm critically ill? These are accounts that will support you through critical illness. It's Index Universal Life. That stairway to heaven that I was showing you, the padlock, that is called IUL, Index Universal Life Insurance. Now, do you know where to go for that? And do you know which one will actually benefit your financial goals? That's what you talk to somebody like me about, okay? And life insurance is probate court free. And when I say probate court, do you know how long probate court can last? It can be anywhere from 2 months up to 4 years, depending on the situation the deceased left. My friend that I met at my job, I met her in August 2022. Her father had just died in April of 2022. And she was telling me, oh, my father left her house, but you know, it's all in probate court because and I know he left us a 401k, but it's all in probate court. Oh, he left some money in his checking account, but it's all in probate court. He left us this, that, it's all in probate court. Very good friend of mine. And then after I learned about this, I asked her, hey, what became of probate court? November 2024, just last year, 2 years later, or 18 months later, is when she told me, oh, Martha, that thing you were talking to, that she also came to my presentation. Oh, that thing you were talking about. Yeah, now I understand this probate court. And yes, they called us to probate court finally. And guess what? They paid my father's loan off, mortgage off. But my brother and I only got $15,000. Can you imagine that? We had so many plans, you know? Yeah, so they took all his money. They didn't take it. They paid off all his debt. And when the two siblings were called to court, there was $15,000 left. That was a lucky event. Some families are called and there's $15 left. Why did you, and families travel to this probate court because they're anticipating, oh, my father left us money, right? We're going to get money. And you get to this probate court, there's $15, there's $1,000. You made me buy a ticket, an air ticket to come to this probate court and there's $15. Why couldn't we have done this online? There's Zoom these days. No, you have to come to probate court. So that's probate court. For my friend, it took 18 months. For some people, it takes longer. For another friend of mine, his father died in January, but he left all his accounts clean. This guy was from Congo. He wanted to leave legacy money. He left massive amounts of life insurance for his children. He left no bills to be paid. His probate lasted only 2 months. Okay, so that's probate court. And the answer is annuities and life insurance, certain types of life insurance. Now, if you have life insurance, look at it critically. What type of life insurance do you have? Because there's a plethora of life insurance out there. Now, what life insurance will actually give you compound interest, will let you not lose your money will grow and you never lose. It will grow at the same rate as even at a greater rate than inflation, so that it can keep up with inflation. Your money grows like a bean multiplying instead of remaining one bean. You can access the money when you want it. It can help you through critical or chronic illness. You can even use that as a retirement account, okay? And you can access that money tax-free if you have the right advice. So what account do you have that can grow that way for you? Okay. Okay. And oh, we've been talking a long time. The question initially was, can I invest money by growing in education? And my question, my response to that, like I said, yes, there's great value in education. The family I grew up on, I myself, I'm a great proponent of education. But the issue I have with education per se is that they teach us skills to go and do a job, okay? Here I am. I was a CNA. I became an LPN, licensed practical nurse. I became a registered nurse. I became a nurse practitioner. It's only at the nurse practitioner level, maybe because I was now comfortable and I was saying, there must be something I can do with this money. So I looked around. Nobody taught me about money until I found this information. I taught myself. The people who've done accounts maybe learned about it, okay? But the rest of us, we are taught, go and learn how to be a teacher, go and learn how to be a doctor, go and learn how to be a mechanic, go and learn how to be a mechanic. But nobody teaches us how and what are we going to do with that money that we are going to earn as a teacher, doctor, mechanic, okay? And that's what this platform is for. I'm here to tell you there are ways you can put money aside so that the money begins to work for you, not you always working for money. Okay? That's what we're trying to do here. Let's learn. Yes, let's do whatever skills we have, because those skills are important and they do give us that financial beginnings for money. But let's also look for ways to make that money grow for us, so that at some point we can just live on our money while it grows, while we sleep. Otherwise, we can work to death and never actually realize the American dream. Okay? The other question that has been asked is, how do I safeguard my earnings and my assets? So I kind of went ahead of myself, and I've taught you, we've talked about how we can safeguard our earnings. Safeguard your earnings when your paycheck is in jeopardy because you can no longer go to work. You safeguard it by getting a life insurance policy that can take care of you while you're alive, not a life insurance policy which is waiting for you to die and then your beneficiaries get the money. No, a life insurance policy which you yourself, while you are alive, can benefit from. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, that's how you will safeguard your earnings. And at the same time, how can I safeguard my assets? Because these life insurance policies, for me as a nurse practitioner, if I make a mistake with a patient, I can be sued, right? But that life insurance, the money in my life insurance, nobody can sue me for that money. Nobody can touch it. Why? Because it's a life insurance policy. Like I told you, they took an ugly container and put a gem in there. What's the best gem in Mozambique? In Zambia, we have emeralds. In Namibia, they have diamonds. So they take a diamond, a gem, an emerald, precious emerald, and put it in an ugly box. Somebody looks at it and said, "Ah, that's just life insurance. Ah, that's just life insurance." Because we only associate life insurance with somebody dying. But here today, I'm telling you, there's life insurance, Index Universal Life, life insurance that you benefit from while you are alive. Okay, and life insurance that you can use almost like your own bank. Okay, you can go in, borrow money, buy a car. You can take money if you want to borrow it out. You can take it, borrow it out. If you want to withdraw it, you can withdraw it. We would have to sit one-on-one to talk about the benefits of whether you borrow or you withdraw. Okay. Now, another question that has been asked: can we consider education savings accounts as a strategy to build wealth? I wanted to know if anybody here has an education savings account set aside for their children. Any type of education savings account.
I don't have, I think Elder has something to say. I particularly don't have a saving account for my children, but my mom, she was the one who built saving accounts for all her grandchildren, and precisely for this moment of coming to school. And it's something that she started long years ago. We didn't even know about that.
Her.
Yeah, and is something that it was useful for us, is being useful for us in this process. For example, for my son enrolling and starting community college in here in the United States. So was something that she was building to the time that they will be 18, and precisely for this purpose of having them at university. So I don't have personally this experience, but she has, and I benefit from that, from her doing that.
Okay, so I've stopped sharing because I don't have much more to share, but I will share that slide later on, okay? Yeah. So let's talk about education savings accounts.
But sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, Martha. I just saw that slide. Think of your income as a table. It looks like interesting.
Oh, I'm going to come to that. Yes,
yeah, sorry.
Yes, I'll come to that.
No, since you say I stopped sharing, I was like, oh my God.
Oh, yes, I shouldn't have. Yes, I'll go back. But for now, I want to talk about education savings accounts. So typically, if you go to the bank, most banks offer some account called a 529. And by the way, these numbers 529, 401k. Those are just, they are tax codes, meaning how the IRS treat that money in relation to taxes. Okay, so the 529 is an account that most banks offer families to set aside money for their children for college. Now, is this the best account? Is this the best account? I question that, because first of all, this account, the money in that account can only be used strictly for education. Now we know life happens, right? Suppose you have a child who is huge on TikTok or on YouTube, and suddenly this child is earning lots of revenue from just TikTok, even as a teenager. And the child says, "Mommy, why do you want me to go to college? I'm making more money, I'm feeding you here." And the child refuses to go to college. So what are you going to do with that money in that account then? The 529. Okay, your child has decided, "Oh no, I'm going to be a dancer because I just want to go to this I'm going to learn dance in the streets." And you can learn break dancing from the streets. You don't go to college for that. And you can make big money with that. So your child decides to be a dancer. And I have nothing against dancers. Actually, I was worried that my daughter would be a dancer because she loves to dance. It's like you press a button and she's breaking into a dance. Okay? So what happens then if your child decides they're not going to college? That's a question to consider. Because if you use that money, "Oh, my child is not going to college, I'm going to buy a car." Guess what? You're paying a penalty on that money. It's your money. But because you're not using it for education, you're going to pay a penalty. And then in some states like Texas, that money can only be used in a college in Texas. Okay? Now, what happens if your child decides they're going to Harvard or to Yale or Stanford? What happens then? Or what if you decide, "You know what? I actually want my child to go to the University of Zambia." You can't take that money and use it in Zambia because you're going to have to withdraw it. And then you pay a penalty and you cannot use it across borders, right? And then are there alternative accounts that one can use for college? The same IUL, the same Index Universal Life account that I was telling you about. Did you know you can open an account for a child who is 15 days old? Imagine if you had a compound interest account opened for a child, for your child. Imagine, Vanessa, your mom did very well. Imagine if she had put that money back there when she started in an IUL compound interest. Wouldn't it be millions upon millions right now? You know, when I was going to nursing school, when I was going to taking prerequisites for, I was going to Camden Community College. As I'm driving there, I'm saying, where do these kids get money for these Porsche cars? Yeah, where do they get money for these Porsche cars? It's because somebody back when they were babies thought about this day when they would need to go to college. Money available for college, no loans for college, no car loan for your child to be able to go to college, all because they invested early and they invested in accounts that grow exponentially, not in accounts that are up and down, up and down, up and down. So is there an alternative to the college savings account? I say the IUL is like a pen knife, you know? You click, it can be used as a screwdriver, it can be used to cut your mango, it can be used to to open a wine bottle. It has so many functions. It can work many, many ways. This is IUL. And then let's talk about legacy now, leaving a legacy for your family. I once spoke to a friend of mine from Zambia, she has these brilliant children, and her children are actually social media influencers. But when I spoke to her about legacy, she says, you know what, me? I've worked hard for everything I've done. My children will just have to work hard for themselves. Huh? And then for somebody like me, my father died when I was 6 years old. I was very fortunate. My whole family was rescued by my brother's, my father's brother. So we didn't do too bad. But what about those families that have nobody to rescue them? What is the plan? The Bible actually mandates parents to leave an inheritance. We have, as parents, we have to leave an inheritance for our children. Now let's
Can
go
you
back
give
to
me
the-
the scripture? Can you give me the scripture, please? I will share with
Vanessa,
my parents.
Vanessa, I'll find the scripture. I'll share it with you. Okay. But yes, we are the wise parent who leave a legacy for their children. Okay. And then now let's talk about leaving legacies for our children. This same, imagine that you had opened, your baby is born, 15 days later, you open an account for them. It's your life insurance on the life of that child. Maybe you have a $500,000 $1 million policy on that child. And that child is a great child, 18 years old, they go to college. Guess what? You have money to pay for their college. Oh, my child has done so well. Look, now she's 30, she's a doctor. Oh, she wants to buy a house. Maybe I can go into that same policy of hers and pull out money and give it to her. Hey, here's money for your down payment. I always wondered where people get money to pay down payment for their families. Where do they get it? No, it's because they've been planning these things from a long time ago. Okay. And then maybe your child has done so well and you can see, oh, now she's a doctor, she's established. I don't need to be paying for this account. And I'll say, hey, dear child, you know, I've had this account for you all these years. I want to turn it over to yourself. Can you take over the payments? And the child looks at the payment because it was gotten when they were a baby, right? The payments will be like, oh, I can afford that. That's a small payment because life insurance, as you know, is related to one's age. The younger you get your policy, the better. So if somebody's parents got them a policy at 15 days old, guess what? That policy premium payment will not change even when they are 30 years old. Hey, you want to take over this account for yourself and start paying for it? Yes, at that rate, I can take it. I can even pay for it many years in advance. Okay? And that now that child has this amount of money that's already sitting in that account, and now it's her money. And you wonder how people are so comfortable. You are hustling, working 3, 4, 5 jobs, and people just look comfortable and, you know, that's how we build legacies. And even the account. Imagine now it's my account, right? So maybe I have a big account and I've borrowed from it. I've bought a car. I've done this and that with it. But that account still remains there. And then I drop dead. Guess what? My family still has the life insurance component. Now the death part, I'm dead. So now they can have the money from that life insurance. How about that? That's what legacy building is, you know? And that's how we end the generational poverty cycles, you know? And we leave our children better off than we ourselves were left by our parents. We won't fault our parents. They did not know. They did not know. But now we know. So can we begin to make a difference? Okay?
Yes. We have almost 15 minutes to the
Okay,
end of
okay.
our
Vanessa,
class.
when you told
Yes.
me 2 hours, I was like, Vanessa, what am I going to talk about in 2 hours?
Yeah.
Now, let me go back to sharing because you see, the issue we have is I know Vanessa and she gave me this forum to share with you all, okay? But who is going to share with the people you know? Huh? Who is going to share with the people you know? Okay? there is a great opportunity for, you can call it a side hustle. Some people go ahead and do it full time. I myself, I'm looking in that direction, but for now I'm doing it part-time, okay? Because we talked about illness. Think of your income as one of these tables, okay? If your only income is from your salary, like this table here, we already talked about what would happen if you are unable to earn income. If this leg broke, what happens to that table? It collapses, right? But if we look at this table, it has 4 legs, right? Suppose one of these legs is your salary and you are unable to go back to work. This leg breaks. This table might wobble a little bit, right? But because it still has 3 other legs, and I'm talking about income here, 3 other income sources, this table can still stand, right? And so I encourage people to consider the idea of other sources of income. It can be investing in money that grows without, not the up and down. When you put your money in these life insurance policies, that's income. It's your money and you can access it when you want. So it becomes another leg on this table, okay? If you pick up a side hustle like mine, that's another source of income. Some people are YouTube influencers, TikTok, Facebook. That's income for them, okay? What I'm saying here in America, because you can I become rich just from my salary? I doubt it. You have to be earning millions of dollars of a salary. Otherwise, you just be running the rat race from one place to another, you know? But if you consider other sources of income, then you might be able to take some of this money from the other sources of income from our side hustle and put it in your life insurance, because life insurance, the more money you put, the more compound interest you earn. Now, how do you join us? First of all, I told you at the beginning, this is a very heavily regulated industry. You have to clear a background check, okay? And then you have to obtain a state license only after passing a course, okay? So you take a course and pass, and then you get a license from your state. Your state will make sure they do the background check. And the course is always online. And so it doesn't really affect, you don't have to drive to the school. I mean, you could, if you wanted, you could pick the option where you drive to the school, but it's always very easy online. And so I'll see if anybody else has questions. And then let me go to the PowerPoint that Sean was asking about. Let me find that one.
And I think Sean is not here now, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. But let me find that PowerPoint. Are there any questions in the chat, Vanessa?
I don't have questions in the chat so far, but maybe I can. You have Elder has a question.
Mhm.
I just want to add, you know, first of all, I'd like to congratulate for the good speech. You know, that was
Thank
a good
you.
lesson for us.
Thank
And I didn't hear at the beginning, but that's what we need. Even in Africa, everywhere you go, we need to give it the basic. You know, what happens is people don't know really that you know, just the basic. You have to have a budget. We call budget, right? People don't know that they have to have a budget. And with the budget, you have to take, well, some percentage, like the 10, 30, you know, let's say 20, 30, the rest, you know. So it's divided to pay bills, and then 30 for, and you have to leave some, you know, some percentage for just leisure, for example, you know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't know what it is. So we don't know that the percentage for the investment, that's what you have to direct that percentage into those those investments. Another thing that I think maybe you should come back and give me that another lecture on that, because it's really important. Is that the emergency account? Nobody really has emergency account. I mean, I'm saying the basic, and then after that, that's when we're gonna go further into deep, like a government bonds and stuff. There's all a lot of good things that people has to know. That is that's where the money is, and that's where the intelligent people, they do. All those rich people how to become further rich, poor, whatever it is. All the book is about write a budget and stick with the budget and invest the money. What you just said, investment, especially the insurance, really, for me. That's what I would like really to tell you, that and congratulate for that.
Okay, thank you very much, Helder. You're absolutely right. Like I said earlier, you see, we are all, when we talk about education, we are all taught the education we get is for skills to enable us to get a job. But we don't have that Finance 101 course to enable us to know how to distribute the money we earn, just like you were saying. Now, I made my children take in college, I made them take Finance 101, just for them to learn planning and things like that. Planning for their money, how to use it. I made them take the courses so that as they go in their professions, they are able to use their money to their benefit, distribute it, have some, have an emergency fund. But just to add to what you just said, Helder, the foundation of any financial planning is actually life insurance. Okay, that's the foundation, because all the money you save, all the investments you have, if a calamity like a chronic illness happens, you have to use that saving. But if you have life insurance, especially the type of life insurance we are talking about, then you have a firm foundation to protect the assets you are now working on building, right? And then, of course, yes, after you have your foundation, then, of course, emergency fund, very, very, very important. Very important. Have your emergency fund, at least 6 months of an emergency fund. Okay? Because some say if you have too much of an emergency fund also, it's like, what are you doing? Because that emergency fund money will probably be in your checking account. So do you want a lot of money sitting in a checking account, not compounding? Or do you want a savings account that has your emergency fund, but you also have something like IUL that's growing you money compound interest? So you're absolutely right. Yes, the basics, we need to have the basics. Finance 101, start with a good life insurance policy. And if it's a life insurance policy that performs multiple tasks, guess what? If you have IUL, you don't need to get a car loan, because you can take money from your own account and go and pay cash for your Mercedes-Benz, or whatever car you want. And you don't need to, you don't need to borrow money for your down payment. You already have your down payment, And if your money is growing wisely, you don't need to even take a 30-year mortgage, because as we know, the longer you hold compound interest, the more money you will pay. So you might decide, oh, I'm okay taking a 15-year mortgage, so that you pay less in compound interest. Okay, so let me share this, because it was requested.
Yeah. And we have 6 minutes to.
Yes, these are the principles of successful people that Warren Buffett proposes. Okay.
Yes. I think it's a good tip to. And, yeah.
Vanessa, did you put my contact information in the chat?
Yes, and I will put again.
Okay. Yes.
So these are the
Anybody.
rules that we should look over to
Yes. You remember I
succeed
said
in
rule
life.
number one is make money, never lose money.
Yes.
Meaning avoid the
Yes.
accounts that are up and down, up and down, up and down, like the stock market. And then rule number two is never forget rule number one. So rule number one must be pretty important. Then consider accounts where you don't need to pay a manager to manage your money. Okay. And then put your money in accounts that will keep up with inflation, the rising cost of goods. Because if you just keep your money in a savings account, that amount, if you put 20,000 in a savings account today, in 10 years' time, it will still be 20,000. But that 20,000 won't buy you the same amount of goods that you could have bought 10 years ago or 20 years ago or previously. Your rent will have gone up. This will be more, the cost of food will have gone up. The cost of clothes will have gone up. Entertainment will have gone up. So your accounts should keep up with inflation. Avoid double taxation because you're already taxed at your job. Okay. So whatever money is in your account is yours. Put it in accounts where you can access the money without paying taxes on them legally. There are legal ways of doing it. And Helder, just to answer your question, your suggestion, yes, I would love to come back. I'd love to come back, but unfortunately, at a forum like this, because this is private information, I cannot address anyone's specific information in a forum like today. Anybody that needs any specific discussion, I can have a private discussion with them. Okay. And then most important, put your money in accounts where you can access the money as and when you want, not where there are limitations. Oh no, only when you retire. And by the time you retire, the money has been lost to the stock market, like the 401k. And then most importantly, put your money in accounts that grow compound interest. We have annuities, we have IUL, Index Universal Life Insurance, that have accounts that grow at compound interest. Social Security, we really don't talk about because nobody has control over Social Security except Uncle Sam. And then have accounts that can take care of you in the event of a critical and chronic illness. Okay, and these same accounts can are exempt from bankruptcy. They are exempt from lawsuits. Number 10, talk about consider accounts which can bypass the probate court system, because that is a cause of misery. You've lost your loved one and now their money is tied up. A friend of ours shared how her husband died. He was in Botswana. Her husband died. And then she's here. She goes to a restaurant and they knew that they lived a very good life. That she goes to a restaurant with her children. They order whatever they want to order, and then her card is declined, and she says, "No, I have money in my account." And later on, she learned, after she started doing this, she learned that was probate court had held her money, and so her accounts were frozen, and so she couldn't use her accounts until after probate had cleared her husband's accounts. Okay, so I am so happy. I'm fired up. Our mission is no family left behind. We want to reach as many families as possible. If you know anybody that needs this information, people who have little babies, let them get them started now so that their financial trajectory is different from our own. Okay. And those coming to America, planning to come to America, you have the information now that helps you to land in America and run. Okay, not begin crawling the way some of us did. No, you can hit the ground running. Okay.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Martha. This was really useful information. As Martha was saying, I met Martha in church, this world, we go to the same church. Now she moved from Arizona, but I met her in church and we start talking, and she also invited me to be part of one of these programs. And I think she did a good job in the beginning explaining why we should join and why we should trust her, because this was also one of my questions in the beginning. You are new to America, you student, you know nothing, so you start listening this offers, and you kind of with questions, but she clearly explained me what was the purpose. And from that stage, I thought that it would be good to have this in our own community. But as she said, everybody's kind of responsible for their own decision. I put the contacts and everybody can contact her and talk and do more questions. But there is a way from this program, and this is what Marta is doing at the moment, of growing your money and build wealth, okay, and make money and never lose it. So thank you again. And then I want to say thank you for everybody to join us. I don't know if someone has a final say. Now we have the responsibility. I share the responsibility with the president of our community, so she can link also with you, and you can continue doing the job. So I want to say thank you everybody for being part of this conversation today. Before we finish, I don't know if one of our guests here has something to say. Thank you, Elder, for your words. This was really important, and I learned also a lot. I don't know, please, if someone has something to say. And Marta, you were saying my mom did a good job. She also joined us today for this conversation.
Oh,
I
really?
told
Nice.
you she wanted to learn
Yeah,
how
nice.
to drive in America before she even come.
Good
So
for
yeah,
her. Smart. Prepare yourself
yes,
so that you hit the ground running when you come here. Yeah. I wanted to
exactly.
say one
So
thing.
I don't know.
So the quote
Yeah.
from Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22 says, "A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children." Proverbs 13.
Okay, Proverbs. Can you?
Proverbs 13, verse 22.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
verse 22.
Mm-hmm. That talks.
Okay.
Let me put it in
Thank
the
you.
chat.
Thank you.
Um,
Yes, we see a
yes.
message
One
in
more
the
thing
chat saying
I
thank
wish
you.
she could mention is, especially for us as Africans, another way of investment is land. She didn't mention that, but this is another thing for us.
Yes.
Even in America, is over there. Land is also a good thing that the value is gonna always be there, and you will land is always increasing on the price market, right?
Yes.
So
Yes, no doubt. No doubt. Land, real estate, it's always a good investment. But the question I ask about that, and listen, I just bought my land in Zambia recently. But the question I ask is, how quickly can you monetize your land for it to help you in financial situations? Yes, invest in land, but let it not be your primary.
yes,
invest in land, but it should not be your primary. Yes.
Yeah.
Because how long, in fact, sometimes by the time you're thinking of monetizing, oh, I'm in my sick bed here in the hospital. If only I could sell that land in Lusaka, Zambia. Maybe, you see? But yes, invest in land by all means. The more land you get, the better. But make sure you have the foundation right.
Yeah. Again, I just want to leave this saying that, please, everybody, whatever wants to have more knowledge into that, please contact Martha, really, because that's the key. I mean, that's really the key, and that's the way of organize yourself, is to have a budget and has a percentage, So for those ones who never read Rich Father or People Poor, whatever it is, that book, that's pretty much what they talk about, what the Martha is saying. So thank you for.
Are you talking about Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Most information is embedded in books. And most of the time when we get to, like when I go to America, started reading nursing books. So I read pretty much anything nursing. I would read about diseases. I go to Google about diseases. Oh, how do I treat this patient? But we never read about anything outside of what we know as our skills. And we are saying here, listen, keep your skill, keep doing it, but educate yourself in money, because it's only with that education. Read books. And for those that I can talk, I will have a sit down with, I will actually recommend books. I might even send you books that you could read. Robert Kiyosaki is an excellent one. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. So I want to respect your time, Martha. I want to respect our elder is saying claps in Portuguese. So I want to respect also our guest time. I don't know if someone has something to say before we close our session today. If not, I will say thank you. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, we have a homework to do from now on.
Okay, good. Thank you very much, Vanessa. This was awesome. I did not know how 2 hours would go by, and look at that.
Yes, that's true.
Uh-huh.
So I will say bye. I will wait for each of you to leave the meeting. I have problems of leaving while people are still in the
Okay.
meeting.
Okay, thank you, Vanessa.
thank
I'm
you.
checking out now.
Okay.
Bye.
I'll
Bye,
talk to
everybody.
you
Thank you
later.
very much for your time.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Mom. My mom is still here.
Oh, and thank you. Which one is your mama?
Leonore.
Mama Leonore and Manuel, thank you very much for coming. Okay.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Maria Magdalena, thank you so much for coming and for joining us today. I hope you can give us the tips. And Elder, your questions? Yes,
Thank you
it
for
was
your
perfect for
participation.
our
Yes.
session. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Vanessa, say hi to mom. How's she doing?
She's okay. She's listening to you now. You can say,
Oh,
let me just.
mother. Hi, how are you?